And welcome to the Tiling Buddy. This is a small bit of digital assistance on a mobile device for your industrial flooring projects. What the tool does is it allows you to bring design and brand and process and best practice into your projects for your clients to really improve the customer experience of the entire process. Probably mostly used in pre-sales, but also very handy during the project itself. So let's get this underway as fast as possible. Today I'm going to be doing a small new mini project, which is going to be a miniature sports centre, which has got sort of two main rooms. It's got a pool and it's got an exercise room. And let's start with a new customer. So it's Dave's Sports Centre, and let's just get that in. And let's say it's going to be Dave is my main contact. He's going to have a phone number and an email address. And let's click on save for there. Okay, that's created my new client. I'm going to select Dave to make life easier. And at the moment, as you can see, there's no projects. So let's close this screen down and let's go into our notes. This is a general area for scribbles and diagrams and calculations. Anything sort of just to keep yourself aware of numbers or structures as you're doing the project. So you can draw things, you can take notes, and you can use a calculator to make calculations or conversions. So let's just draw our structures very quickly. So to start off, we've got a pool area. We're going to say it's going to have a main pool and a small diving section. And let's pop some text on there. The main pool area is going to be 11 by 5, and the diving section is going to be a 3 by 3. Okay, that's fine. And let's draw a secondary one, which is going to be a slightly strangely shaped exercise room with a sort of podium at the top there, and we're going to have a nice sort of big logo in our main area here. It's an L for logo. And as far as the logo is concerned, let's say it's going to be 5 by 4 as far as meters are concerned. Okay, so there's our main structure. We can have any notes or a text on here just to sort of help us along. Let's start by creating the pool. Close down our notes, and this is our main sort of interface for designing the pre-tiled structure. There's 3 templates. There's L-shaped, which has got all the sort of different combinations having 2 blocks together. There's a block which is just a rectangular with an option of doing rotations, and there's our pool section, which means there's some sort of rectangular space in the middle. And just quickly on notes, it's 11 by 5, so let's pop that in. 11 on there, 5 on here. I want to stick a couple of meters on the outside, so we'll call that. So that's going to be 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 there, and again 2 meters on either side, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, let's pop our structure into the project. And there we go, that's looking quite nice. And the secondary one was another pool area of 3 by 3. So let's say that's going to be 3. So it's 3 by 3 on the pool itself, and we're going to stick again a couple more. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on the outside there, and 7 on the outside there. And that's our diving structure. It's popped everything on the left hand side, but that's fine. We can just literally pick things up and move them around as we need to. Let's just zoom out a little bit. There we go. Okay, so let's just move that over here. Okay. You go in there, and you go in here. And there's our 3 by 3 structure in the middle there, as you can see. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Just want to nudge that a little bit over here, and let's click on tile to apply the tile to the structure. And there we have our structure. You can see it doesn't have to be really exact, because the tiles are never going to exactly fit. So it's always going to overestimate slightly to make sure there's going to be more tiles rather than less tiles in the solution, which is fine. So we've got lots of different options as far as filling this space up is concerned. We've got normal draw, which is the default, so I can just pick a colour and I can now sort of like drag my finger along here and apply any particular colour to the tiles themselves. If I do a crosshatch, you can see the individual tiles of the solution. There's 500 tiles in this particular structure, which means 10 pallets, which means that it's probably going to take about 4.5 hours to install based on an average install per tile time. I've got cross-hatching options, as you can see. So small crosshatch, medium, large. I've also got striping, and that's based on these two crosshatch colours here, which I just are selected from the main colours. So there's red and green, which is particularly gruesome. Let's go for a nice dark one. So black and dark grey, and we'll do a medium-sized crosshatch. I want to stick a border on this. Let's have a nice red border, shall we? So select the colour, select the border, and that's looking very nice indeed. There's also two special tiles here for logo and warning, because they have extra costs and they're sort of like created separately in a different manufacturing process. So the warning is going to be in the entrance and maybe on the corners of the main pool itself and over here. And I'm going to have a logo as well. Let's just stick some logo tiles over here so we know that what we're talking about and whose sports centre we're exercising in. So that's very, very quick to set up the structure and set up a design here. I'm going to save this particular structure. So click on Project, save the project as Pool, and click OK. And there it's created my pool project under David Sports Centre. If I wanted to show multiple designs of a particular pool, what I'd do very, very quickly is I'd select my pool project and I'd select clone as an option and click the OK, and suddenly I've got two pool projects. Let's call that pool 2 and do an update. So we've got, sorry, it says pool 3, but you can see there's pool and pool 3. And all I've done is I've cloned the design there. So if I do a load on this one here, for example, and I want to change it to be slightly less exciting with just, let's go for a nice sort of blue on the background there, and maybe a red on the border, which is, yeah, that's much simpler, and we just have like a couple of warnings for the user rather than so many. So that would be a secondary possible solution, which I could then update the client with. So I'd go to the client and say, okay, here's a possible solution. There's my red and black. I said we also came up with this one over here, which is a little bit less exciting. So you could very, very quickly present multiple options to the clients as far as the solution is concerned, as well as allowing the solution to sort of sit side by side with you, or even use the tool on their own to come up with some ideas for the branding and the design of the solution. So let's go to projects again. No, we don't. We want to go to reset because we're going to do our second room now. Just check our notes quickly. It's going to be a meeting room with a large logo. So let's just do a block. Quick notes. Okay, so that's that size there. So that looks like it's about 5 by 4 at the top. So 5, and it was 4 there. And create the structure. So that was the podium bit, and then we had a secondary block area which was a lot bigger. So it's like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 over here. And it's a bit deeper as well, so we'll say it's going to be 7 there. So that looks pretty good. That's our area for our exercise and our classes. If we did actually make a mistake on the block itself, for example, I just select the block I don't want and I click on the bin there and it gets rid of it. So let's tile that particular one again, and we'll stick it with a black border to begin with. Drag it around the screen a little bit to make it look in the right position. Lots of different options as far as filling things. I've got predefined patterns based on the colours of the tiles themselves. I've got presets like, for example, badminton courts, as well as all the tiles themselves. I could also use bespoke colours if the client has particular colours for their brand. So this uses the RAL system to set up 4 bespoke colours. You can see on the screen here, you just all the RAL colours are here in place. So I just literally choose my RAL colour or enter my RAL code there. It brings up the detail here, and I just click on one of my bespoke colours to set it for that particular RAL colour. And you can see it's been changed over here. Just close that down, and now I can choose my lovely pink there, for example. What colour was that? Heather violet, I should say. And then I could, let's say, do a crosshatch of the 2 blacks, and then have a nice border of my heather violet, and maybe even have a few hearts in here as well. Okay, it's a little bit on the small size for my minion, but let's try that again with a minion. There we go. So this is using preset colors from my palette, and very quickly I can set up exactly what I want. So let's go for the dark again, and I'm going to go for my lovely pink on the outside. There is a big logo in the middle here. I need to change that to that. So there's my logo. And again, we might have some warnings on the entrance, we might have some warnings on the exit, and then that's essentially my training room, which is again amazingly fast to set up for very little overhead as far as time to get designs in front of the clients. Let's go to the projects, let's do a save on the project. We're going to call that X for exercise room. Click on save, and there it is. And there's my project as far as the client is concerned. If I just, let's go into a little bit more detail about what we can do here. You can see on the screen here, we've got a design here, but there's more information available. For example, it tells me also that there's 143 black squares, 149 dark greys, using 24 logos, and it's using 4 warning tiles, with a total number of 400 tiles, which is 8 pallets, and also means roughly 3.3 hours as far as installation is concerned. But we can take it a further level as far as depth is concerned by clicking on project details. This is a breakdown by individual colour for that particular solution, giving labels of the coordinate space of each tile. And what we do is, after manufacture, we get all of our sort of 200 odd black ones, and we'd have a label printed and we'd stick it on the back of the black ones. We then shuffle all of our various tiles from our solution to get them in terms of rows, and order them correctly, and then we've got a solution which is a pile of tiles for a particular row which go left to right, and it removes any complexity as far as installation is concerned. You don't need to think about patterns or maps or which one should be going next or making mistakes, because it's already been in order. With a double check, we're using a digital map, for example, and it really speeds things up as far as the process is concerned. So that's my solution there. As you can see, we've got dark greys, we've got blacks, we've got our 24 logos, we've got 80 bespoke 4 tiles, which is my lovely heather violet, and 4 warning tiles. The second screen on the project details is a ballpark summation screen, and again it tells me exactly how many tiles I'm using of which type. Each type will have a cost per tile and a number of tiles being in use, and that actually equates to money, so I get a ballpark figure for the actual tiles themselves. There's also an extra cost if the tiles are in sunshine or harsh lighting, which means we need to glue them down. So tapping on that, for example, includes glue costs, so how much the glue is actually needed, and it also increases the amount of time for laying an individual tile because you're gluing it. And finally, there's an extra cost of £350 because I'm using a bespoke colour, which gives me a total ballpark cost of this number here, which is again a very handy sort of conversation tool to take to the customer, so they know exactly sort of what the money is and where it's going on, which should make them much happier. The third screen is a map which we would give to the installation crew. They would have the project as far as each individual consultant would be given a row to do at a time, and the tiles are already pre-ordered, but they have this as a secondary tool to make sure that the order is correct, and this is what they're going to be laying. So pink, 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 orange, orange, and then the pinks again, and that's working sort of top down for one. The other consultant will be working from the bottom. It makes the process and then best practice a lot easier. So that's project details, and that's essentially my project. I hope you've enjoyed watching it, and thank you very much. Bye bye.